Upon descending a road situated in the western highlands of Guatemala, the eye is drawn to a magnificent vista, as the eye meets a deep blue lake surrounded by towering, lush volcanoes. There was a time, of course, a time before modern ships and even before the old steamships, in which this was the only thing the eye would meet. Now the eye sees the same deep blue lake surrounded by towering, lush volcanoes, filled with a myriad of motor-powered metallic boats. As the road keeps ascending, one's attention is now focused on the uncanny conglomeration of things different. Modern hotels offering rooms with television and spas, small, humble shops selling handmade wooden toys and traditional cloth, restaurants offering pizzas, sandwiches, and sodas, indigenous men fishing in the lake with a net for their dinner, centers offering yoga, meditation, and massages, and little children from the local ethnicities returning from a local school. Also, at seeing the lake from close distance, one will notice all the trash lying around, and, in certain locations, the pipes that carry waste, both industrial and human, into its gorgeous new home, the clean lake. The whole panorama, as seen by in the mountains, is now a different one at close sight. This is Lake Atitlan. To the foreboding contamination issue, I wish to draw your attention. First, the most looming problem that is threatening, or I should say already attacking Lake Atitlan, is the industrial, agricultural, and human waste being force-fed into the lake. Agricultural runoff flows into the lake from tributaries. Industries and humans dump their waste into both tributaries and the lake itself. This strategy is compatible with that of sick rats being transported from the high steppes of Asia into the towns of Europe. What is the problem with all the waste in agricultural runoff? It provides nutrients for the blue algae cyanobacteria, in this case of the genus Lingbia, to feed on. Small quantities of Lingbia are natural in lakes, seas, and oceans, but the one in Atitlan is growing at an alarming rate. Large amounts of Lingbia trap sunlight needed for other specimens, and also produce mortal toxins to animal life. If this problem is not solved, the Lingbia shall spread its hand of doom over the entire lake. The point: runoff, industrial, and human waste must be stopped from flowing into the lake. Now to the most saddening part. May it serve as a boon that there has already been a fatal tragedy in Lake Atitlan's history. It is the extinction of the Atitlan grebe, or pato poc, as it was locally named. That endemic, unique duck, which made Atitlan special, as the seagulls make the ocean special, is now extinct. The reason this duck was killed, the reason this part of nature was destroyed, was human greed. Humans opted for having a better fishing market, increasing wealth and commerce rather than preserve the endemic pato poc and the traditional fishing culture of the native fishermen. Upon introducing the black bass into the lake to increase the fishing commerce, this fish, not native to the region, ate what the pato poc fed on, and thus the whole ecosystem was contaminated and the pato poc became extinct. The damage done by this action is greater than the damage done in Australia with the introduction of a new species. Aside from environmental problems, Lake Atitlan is also decaying culturally. The lake is plagued with gasoline-run boats. Whatever happened to the traditional wooden cayucos? They have been forgotten, remembered only by the local traditional elder fishermen of the Tsu'utujil and Cachiquel ethnicities. Those honorable fishermen, who in spite of all the changes around them, they still continue with the traditional, simple ways. Just like some skippers I knew in the mighty Lake Erie and some faraway islands, they preserve the ancient spirit that once must have dominated Lake Atitlan. But they are undermined by the vast amount of tourist boats sailing all day around the lake. Terrible is the case of San Marcos La Laguna and Panajachel as well. Those towns have become a conglomerate of pop culture that invaded the native traditions. Tattoo shops, yoga centers, spas, and bars are everywhere. Like the sea and fate, which are uncomfortable, Lake Atitlan should be uncomfortable. But the modern human impulse of wanting to make everything accessible and comfortable has damaged Lake Atitlan both environmentally and culturally. This is much like the American expansion to the west. Unlike the sea, this lake will not roll as it rolled 5,000 years ago, unless the environmental and cultural degradations are stopped immediately.